Well, a good Monday evening. Tom Brannon with Nathan Scott. Thank you for watching us once again. THV11 Plus. You're watching the app where tonight we're going to go over what's happening in the world of weather out there. And I think we can all agree it's been a rather active day here.
It certainly has. We've had tornado warnings for Yell County. That one dissipated before it moved into Pope County for the most part, but they actually had some, looks like, tornadoes that did make their way through parts of northwest Arkansas. And we still have a long ways to go, Tom, just because the slow nature of this system, it's still out along the border of Oklahoma and Arkansas, and it's creeping its way to the east.
We had a tornado warning issued earlier this afternoon that's just out of our THV11 viewing area in Logan County. That was the first warning. Last night, early this morning, Tracy Dean had one 4:30 in the morning. Sometimes these things happen with or without a watch, and we try to stress that when the atmospheric conditions are there for the development of tornadoes, then you don't have to have a watch or a warning. They can happen sometimes. So I wouldn't be surprised tonight, early tomorrow morning, if there are a couple of more tornado warnings outside of the watch area.
It is certainly possible, but hopefully that's not the case. I think the good thing that we have going on for us now is we've lost the daytime heating.
That's good.
So the storm fuel is going down. It's not going to disappear entirely as that line starts to approach central Arkansas, but the threat of severe weather will diminish compared to what we're seeing right now into eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas, where there's still plenty of storm fuel in place. Still watching cells, although at this time, I don't think there's any warnings, but we're going to take a look at radar coming up.
Right. National Weather Service, North Little Rock, Tulsa, they're all keeping an eye on some storms. There are some weaker supercells out there, but all they have to do is tap into the right environment. Let's go over what we've got going on tonight and tomorrow. THV11 Weather Impact Alert. That is for the rest of the night tonight, and that's going to take us through a part of the day tomorrow. And the reason for that is what Nathan was just talking about. This line is going to move so slow to the east, or this front, that we're expecting some heavy rainfall, and it may be sometime late tomorrow afternoon before all is said and done with the rain. And it could rain in eastern Arkansas even up to when the polls shut down tomorrow evening. So here's what's at stake. We've got a chance of strong to severe thunderstorms tonight.
Get out of the way here.
Well, you don't have to. In fact, you don't want to. Strong to severe storms possible overnight. Heavy rain. It becomes more of a heavy rain threat. This is through, let's say, 2 o'clock Tuesday. You know what? It might be 3 o'clock Tuesday. Just depends on the speed of the front and the speed of the line. And there could be some more development tomorrow. We could have some gusty winds within that line. There could be a brief tornado. The hail threat is not as impressive, but we could still have some hail. And I think it's going to impact those of you that are voting tomorrow morning. If you were planning on voting, let's say about 7, 8 o'clock here in central Arkansas, there's a good chance you're going to get wet. Yeah,
and it could be certainly a gully washer out there with this line progressing its way through. I think, Tom, people want to know, though, is this a night where they need to stay up all night long until the system passes through, or can they go to bed and just have a way of getting notifications to wake them up, just in case?
Just in case, and you know, have multiple ways. We've tried to encourage this before, multiple ways to receive severe weather information. Of course, NOAA Weather Radio is great. Your phone app's going to go off, or your phone's going to go off. The THV11 app will also alert you if there's a warning in your location. So, you know, that's a tricky question to answer. There are so many people that are they're scared of just thunderstorms.
Sure, yeah.
You know, knowing thunderstorms might produce tornadoes, and it's nighttime, and these things, when they happen at night, there's a little more insecurity involved.
But we're not looking at supercell thunderstorms rolling their way through. So the potential of a strong tornado is not really in play here in central Arkansas. I think for the most part, as this line makes its way through, it could produce one of those quick spin-up tornadoes. Yeah, but nonetheless, it's still there.
It's still a tornado, and that opportunity is still there. And we've got radar behind us. Nathan's going to walk us through the setup and why there is such a concern tonight. It has a lot to do with the wind energy that's happening upstairs.
Yeah, so we're going to switch things over, and we're going to take a look at Storm Track 11. Using the Storm Prediction Center website, it's called Mesoscale Analysis. So this is really getting into some deep science kind of what the mechanics are for a severe weather setup. And right now, you're just taking a look at the surface observations. It's warm, it's humid out there. This is all the ingredients that are in place for storms to develop. But what we're watching is the jet at the low levels which is about 5,000 feet above the atmosphere. And what you see is that purple area, that's the real core of this jet stream that's moving through. But we still have wind energy, all this blue area encompassing all of Arkansas. That is winds coming from the south. And when you have winds coming from the south, 5,000 feet, and then you have winds coming from the southwest at the surface, that allows for any updrafts to start to rotate. And that's why these storms have been rotating. And we still have this parameter called the significant tornado parameter. And you take a look at this, if this is going to update for me, let me just try that again.
There you go.
We still have that in play as well. So where you see this dashed area, that's where the significant tornado parameter is a little bit lower. But when you see this solid area, when you have a STP, what's the acronym for it?
STP.
And it's 1 or greater than our confidence in any cells or storms that develop in that part of this system will rotate and have potential of producing tornadoes. So as long as that STP is still a 1, we will still have to be here babysitting the radar all night long just to make sure these storms behave themselves.
And this, again, this is a situation where we've got to watch. And Little Rock is not in the watch, and most of the metro is not in the watch. But, you know, once to say midnight, 1 o'clock, one of these cells taps in to some of these winds aloft and could produce a quick tornado along that line, inside that line. They happen within the lines. Earlier today, it was supercell thunderstorms.
Yeah.
We had a little more energy. We had a little more storm fuel that helped to feed those things. And the result was tornado warnings beginning around 2 o'clock and lasting through about 3:30, 4 o'clock.
But right now you look at the radar and there's no warnings. There's no severe thunderstorm warnings. There's no tornado warnings. There's a solid area of heavy rain that's making its way in here from Oklahoma. And when you see a line develop like this is much more encouraging versus those individual cells developing ahead of the line. What we saw this afternoon and also into the early part of this evening, those were the troublemakers because when you have cells developing ahead of a line of storms, they're more favored to feed off the buffet of warm, humid air. Storms like to be by themselves. They don't like competition.
No.
So when they are by themselves, they can get really wicked really fast, and that's when they can become supercells with a rotating updraft leading to damaging wind gusts, large hail, but also the tornado threat. So the tornado threat with this line is going to be much lower compared to when you have individual cells.
Right, and I'll tell you, we're very thankful, very happy that there are no warnings out there yet, or we hope that this is it tonight. I think we'd both rather kind of, as we say, babysit, just kind of keep an eye on radar and make sure that we can answer questions from you on Facebook or whatever. So this is good. We like this, but you know, heading through the night, there may be an occasion where we get a severe thunderstorm, a gusty wind, or even a tornado warning. But I think our main threat moving forward is going to be for very heavy rain. We've had some very impressive rainfall amounts fall since midnight, and we could pick up another couple of 3 inches more as this line slowly moves across the area. We'll get to the rain in a moment. Here are the watches that we have for western Arkansas and the storm reports. We mentioned tornadoes today. Northwest Arkansas, once again, up toward the Rogers area. Northwest Arkansas, Washington, Benton County area, they had tornadoes today.
I have a friend in Cave Springs, just to the west of Fayetteville, and he was under tornado warning. He went out and looked outside his neighborhood, and the wall cloud was coming at him, and I was like, bro, you got to get inside. You are showing a picture of you being outside with wall cloud approaching to a meteorologist.
That's why I get it. I grew up here, and the propensity for those folks when a tornado warning is issued, if you can see it, the first thing you're going to do or want to do is go out on the back porch or go out the front door and look up in the sky, and that may not have worked out very well for him. I'm glad he's safe.
Yeah, he saw a little rotation and he went inside and got to the pantry. But it was certainly a scary situation. I mean, there were 2 tornado warnings for Fayetteville. We have had some, observations on video. It looks like there hasn't been too much in the form of damage, but National Weather Service out of Tulsa will take a look at that. And if there is some damage, they will survey that and give it a EF rating.
Now, in Montgomery and Yale County, where the warnings were earlier this afternoon, there were 2 radar confirmed tornadoes, not strong, but wilderness area, a lot of trees, mountainous areas. So
Yeah.
the Weather Service is going to wait to go back. But I remember Dennis Kavanaugh saying that they're going to count those 2 toward the total. And the total was 46, so there's 48. We could be above 50 before things are said and done.
And the average in the entire year is 37, so we're well above the average.
And we just really started our second severe weather season.
Yes.
Looks as if we're going to continue this trend at least for tonight, and then tomorrow hopefully things get better. It's going to stay above average. I don't really see any big cold air dumps on us for at least another week or more than that.
Yeah, the European was hinting there might be a little blast of cooler air next week. It's still 7-10 days away, so things could certainly change. But the models are having a little tough time to figure out what's going to be happening with the troughs that make their way in here from the west, but also what's happening into the Caribbean and Gulf, because we now have Tropical Storm Rainfall.
I'm just ready for it to feel like fall. We really haven't. I mean, at night it has been. Back when we had that stretch of 2-3 weeks of dry weather, the temperatures would drop off at night, but during the day they go back up in the 80s. Tornado watch in effect till 9 o'clock. This has been updated. Certainly some good news for northwest Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma. There's still an enhanced risk, an area where we could see a tornado or some gusty winds. That's that orange area there. That's a 3 out of 5. 1 out of 2, or 1 out of 5 for us, a 2 out of 5 in places like Russellville, Hot Springs, and Arkadelphia. I'm sure they don't want anything else. They've already had theirs today.
So when you take a look at this map, this shows the trend of weakening, because otherwise, if it wasn't expected to weaken, this orange area, this 3 out of 5, would be extended into central Arkansas. But they're saying this line, as it approaches central Arkansas, will start to lose a lot of its punch and steam, and hopefully it'll just be a line of heavy rain. That would be great.
That would be
some lightning,
fantastic.
Thunder, some heavy rain.
We still need the rain. Rain is a good thing. Maybe not 10, 12 inches all at once with the flash flooding, but it seems like we have a dry season and we have a wet season, and we've just begun our wet season.
We certainly flipped the script very quickly.
This is the severe weather outlook going forward for the rest of the night. You've noticed the trend, or as you say, the weakening. Still can have a strong tornado above your shoulder, a brief strong tornado in that part of Arkansas, northwest and west central Arkansas. Hail, maybe not as much, but the wind. It's the wind and the possibility of a brief tornado that are the concern for the rest of the night tonight, early tomorrow.
Yep, and we're still watching that potential of heavy rain. So small creeks and streams, poor drainage areas, low-lying areas, those are going to be the most susceptible areas to see some flash flooding concerns. And that does include those typical trouble spots in some city areas. Underneath an overpass, that's always seems like a bad spot. Underneath the overpass with a railroad bridge or something like that. Right. So you know where the trouble spots are. And
we've got a few here in the Little Rock area. As far as timing, I know that folks are, okay, tomorrow, didn't you have a chance to early vote? I'm going to get out and vote tomorrow. With a little luck, we'll get most of this out of the way in western Arkansas by early tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And then for central Arkansas, it begins around 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe around midnight, 1 o'clock, but it's going to last through 9 or 10 before wrapping up and moving to the east. It's just the slow progression of the line in the front moving across the state. And it could speed up. So just because we're showing these times, it may be done past Russellville by 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll just have to see how everything evolves. And if this is getting a little more of a push to the east, then here in Little Rock and central Arkansas, we may be done with that rain a little bit earlier than expected. But certainly, I think for dawn and right around sunrise, we're going to have area of very heavy rainfall that will last maybe for 30 minutes to an hour, and then it starts to wane as it pushes off to the east. Well, it's, if you're getting up underneath these downpours, and unfortunately some of that could occur during your morning rush, it could mess up your morning, so just be careful on the roadways. We have a couple of different forecast models to show you. These are the high resolution models. They update very quickly every so often, and this is the latest from the HRRR. This is beginning at 8 o'clock tonight. Still have that line in place. Here it is, 8:14. Let's walk you through the time. It didn't move a whole lot there between 8 and 10, so it's slowing down. Well, come on, a little bit of forward progression. That's just after midnight. That may be a little too slow. Maybe too slow, yeah. This is tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, and then by 11:30 tomorrow, it looks like it picks up a little more speed. That's just a projection of what things could look like from one model, and the other model is also they're very similar in where the positioning of this front and where the rain is located. We're still going here with this one, aren't we?
Yes, we
are. All right, we're out of here 3 o'clock.
There we go.
There's the graph. This is 8 o'clock tonight. Let's see what, again, this is 10 o'clock, slow progression, picking up a little speed. Tomorrow morning, 5 o'clock, between 5 and 7. Rush hour traffic around central Arkansas on the metro could be a little bit sloppy. Noontime tomorrow, we still keep that line. There could be some wind gusts in that line.
Yeah, there's still, I think, a marginal risk of severe weather for East Arkansas, just for that potential. There could be 1 or 2 gusty storms that make their way through, but it's going to be a long night for us here in the weather department. Again, we will be here all night long watching this line make its way from the west to the east, because in weather, in meteorology, you never assume. We're not going to leave and then be like, oh, there's a tornado warning issued, nobody's there. That's the worst nightmare that a meteorologist can experience for the most part.
And I will tell you, it happens to all of us, or it's happened to all of us.
Oh, yeah.
At least, it never happened to you, though.
No, it's happened to me before.
It has happened before.
Nature likes to throw curveballs.
It
I
does.
remember when working in Mississippi, there was no watch, there was no lightning with these storms, and sure enough, it was like a shower, but it produced a tornado. East or west of Meridian.
We have seen that happen around here before. We have. All right, so those are just what a couple of the forecast models are indicating. So that's why we keep that weather impact alert through at least 2 o'clock tomorrow, and it may have to be updated a bit. The pack for my earpiece fell off, and I'm just trying to get it reestablished. This is the bigger concern, too, moving forward tonight, the flash flooding threat. There are numerous counties under flood warnings, and this area of green covers up about the northwest.
There's a new one.
Another one?
Yeah, this just got issued. Large parts.
And I think they said this on our chat window from the National Weather Service. They're getting ready to do that. So lots of rain out there. More flash flooding. That's going to be a big deal. Another couple of 3 inches can't be ruled out. Look at the rain since midnight. You know, looking at the models a couple of days ago, it's like there's no way. European models saying 6-7 inches. No way. There's no way that's going to happen.
Yep.
It happened.
And we made a forecast. We said about 3 to 6 for this area. So that hasn't done too bad. I think the total is a little bit more higher than here. I had about 2 to 4. And for central Arkansas, I went with a range of about 1 to 2 when I made that forecast this weekend. But more rain is headed in the same area that just got blasted. The Buffalo River is flood stage at this time. I mean, it jumped up 7-8 feet.
Yeah.
From last night into this morning. So it's going to be certainly a raging river.
As they say about the Buffalo River, it went from get out and push to stay out of the river, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much.
But look at what's going on here in southeast Arkansas.
They haven't seen anything.
Not much at all. This is where we find the burn bans and the wildfire danger, but the rest of the state is, you hate to get it all at once, but that really does help. It helps to, the tributaries, the lakes that are down a little bit, that's going to all funnel into these lakes. With more to come tonight. Let's just hope that eastern Arkansas can get a little bit more tomorrow with this line as it moves through. I can't remember what's next. This is forecast rainfall, okay, from the graph. So here's there's the her. Let's go back one. Come on now.
I think they're pretty much saying the same thing. Another 2 to 4 inches off to the west, and then about 1 to 2 here in central Arkansas. But for the most part, any more additional rain is going to continue to worsen the flooding issues that are already have been occurring into West Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas. Never, ever drive through floodwaters. We always tell you this, turn around, don't drown. And that's just because when you approach a flooded road, you don't know the road's even there. It could be washed away. You don't know how deep it is. And especially if that water is moving, it doesn't take much water at all to go ahead, lift your pickup truck or car and send it downstream.
Sometimes what happens is you don't know if the road is there because the water's been moving through and it's washed out the roadway. So that is one forecast model solution. Here's the other. And you're right. They're both saying between now and Wednesday morning, another 1 to 2, possibly 3 inches of rain is possible. But southeast Arkansas, just not much. Well, let's hope that changes. I mean,
it could change.
It wouldn't take much, yeah. In fact, if the European said 6, 7, 8 inches of rain, it may have undershot. There's more to go. So hopefully you'll get yours at home with the rainfall amounts. All right. Tornadoes in Arkansas. You know, we talked about this just a few minutes ago about the average number of tornadoes. We're going to be over 50 after this event's over with a lot more of our winter severe weather season to go. But when you look at what occurs, November has
there's a spike there.
Amount.
Yeah, there's definitely a spike there. I mean, we're pretty quiet typically through the summer months unless you get a tropical system like what we did with Beryl, and that produced 9 tornadoes back in July. You can see that we're ramping things back up just because we're making that seasonal transition from the hot summer. Now you got the cold air trying to move in here from Canada, so that enhances the jet stream and pushes that jet stream down to the south. And when you have the jet stream in place, that means you're going to have more wind shear. More wind shear means good chance of severe weather.
Right. Let's go back to radar. I'm going to pull this back up, Perry, on our end. And we'll spend a little more time updating folks on what's going on with our radar before we close things out this evening. Again, like Nathan said, that somebody will be here tonight to address your needs. And Elizabeth is helping us out. She's our digital wizard. And she's going to be along with us tonight as well. And then we'll have someone else come in and help us out and make sure that we can get on Plus and also on YouTube and any of our Facebook the platforms. There she is. Hey, look, there's Elizabeth. I like to include everybody. Perry and Roger are directing up in the booth. I got to tell you what.
Can't bring them out here though.
Well, somebody's got to stay up there and make sure that we're on. But that's Elizabeth. She's like, okay, that's enough. Right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's go back to radar, Perry, and we'll talk about the slow progression of this line. It looks like it's going to be crawling along here. You can already see some moderate to heavy rain falling, but no warnings. Certainly some good news.
I mean, this is an hour loop, okay? So if you kind of extrapolate on where this is right now it hasn't really moved. So it's like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. So it's probably going to start to enter into Montgomery County 10, 11 o'clock. And that means it's going to take a while to get here to Central Arkansas. So here in Central Arkansas, it'll be quiet for a long time. Maybe after midnight, we'll start to see that rain, lightning, and thunder push its way in. Can we take a look at the lightning? Can you pull that up to see how things are going?
I can.
We've got the lightning counter.
There you go.
Okay, so there's all the lightning, and I have element that just says lightning on there too.
There.
So
that's it.
I think this is kind of cool to check out. So there's all the lightning strikes. And in the past 10 minutes, we've had almost 300 lightning strikes for everything that you see on this image. So there's where the storms are lined up through the Ozarks, down into Scott County, into northeast Texas, and pretty much the storm motion, the individual cells are going northeast, but the actual line is slowly pushing its way from the west to the east, and this is all ahead of a cold front. It will be cooler tomorrow. Don't be fooled. Yes, it's going to be warm out there tonight, but once the front makes its way through, or once the rain really makes its way through, those numbers will drop. We'll start off, I think, our Tuesday into the upper 60s, low 70s for a lot of locations, but after that rain, we're just stuck in the 60s throughout the day. So it'll feel like fall.
Finally? I mean, today, it was 80 degrees. It felt like March or April.
It didn't feel right. You knew something.
No, it didn't.
Something wasn't right in the atmosphere. We kind of felt like, okay, we got to be prepared today.
Mr. Perry, if you would please put up, there you go. Folks, you can always follow us, download the THV11 app, and turn on your alerts within the app. That way you'll get your tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings, as well as some of the watches. There goes the battery pack again. And you can stream us. When we're live, we've got tornado warnings. You can stream us through the app. Or if you're at home and you have the THV11 Plus app, you can always stream us there for the latest news and weather and severe weather coverage. And we're going to be back at 10 o'clock tonight. It's 8:25. We'll be back at 10 o'clock tonight, and we'll stick around for as long as it takes tonight to make sure that you're safe. Closing thoughts?
I think we should let people know that this is a new thing that the THV11 Weather Impact team is doing. We're going to be continuing to do these streaming videos when we have severe weather potential in place to keep you informed and keep you updated with live weather updates and just kind of almost geek out a little bit if there's opportunity to really get into more of the science, but also just to let you know, hey, this is real serious, or you don't have to be too concerned out there. So
I can't wait for our first snowfall when we're here.
Oh.
And hit a foot of snow out on the weather garden.
That's going to be a fun one.
Yeah.
So we do winter weather and severe weather. It won't just be severe weather.
We might even do it all in the same week.
That
Go
is
from
a
severe to winter.
possibility. It is Arkansas.
It is. Nathan Scott, Tom Brannon, thank you for joining us tonight. We will see you at 10 o'clock for the news tonight. Take care, everyone.